I'm going to make an observation that is likely to get me tarred and feathered, but before you reach for your handy-dandy pitchfork, hear me out. That observation is this. Age and identity verification requirements for accessing websites is a necessity. It should be expanded to most, if not all, of the internet. Have I sufficiently ticked off enough of you yet? Okay, that might be a little bit overblown, but there's a core point here. There's a very important core point here, and I'm going to implore upon you to listen to the end before passing judgment, because I think there's a real thing we should have a discussion around here, or you can go read the article that I'm going to be reading from here. The reason that I make this obviously almost engineered to tick off the entire internet statement is very simple. Identity verification is the only possible solution to the army of AI-driven bots that are currently infesting the internet. If we want to stop the dead internet theory, this is the only way. And I'm going to walk you through all of this and make up your own mind at the end. I have thoughts going in all sorts of directions, so follow along with me here. First, I want to start by tackling the problems with identity verification. And oh my gosh, there are some problems. I want to make this very, very clear. Online age and ID verification has a number of problems. Very, very, very real problems that every single person is very correct to be concerned about. For example, just off the top of my head, what verification data is going to be collected and stored? And how is it going to be stored? What additional security concerns are created because of ID verification? I can think of about 1 million. Will the burden of that verification be too much for some sites to handle? I mean, I think that's a fairly reasonable concern to have. If you have a small site with a small team and you need to also handle identity verification on top of the regular maintenance and running and administering of your website, that just may be too much to handle. And also, how will those verification systems be abused by corporations and governments? Note how I worded that. How will those verification systems be abused by corporations and governments? Not if, but how, because they assuredly will. And those, again, are just a handful of the problems with identity verification for online websites that I just thought of off the top of my head. There's more. Some of the issues that I listed up there are straightforward engineering issues. There are realistic and straightforward solutions to some of those issues. On the other hand, some of those issues are downright daunting or horrifying or seemingly impossible to overcome. Regardless, those 4 bullet points alone are enough to make most people, myself included, recoil in horror at the mere thought of identity verification becoming mandatory, either for an individual website or for the entirety of the internet. But mandatory it has become, at least for a small portion of adult-focused websites in a number of locales. In several states in the USA, Texas, Louisiana, and a number of others, adult websites, and soon, in some locations, some social media sites, are now already requiring age verification. That's already happening. And in the United Kingdom, the Online Safety Act is taking effect, realistically taking effect in a big way today, which is part of why we're talking about this. And this is resulting in a massive spike in VPN usage as people in the United Kingdom are trying to work around age verification for adult-only websites. Here, I'm just looking at a screenshot. This is from Proton VPN. They do this fairly regularly. Whenever there's a big spike in traffic, they take a screenshot of their traffic spike and post it online, and then they include the news item that they think is causing that spike. And today, July 25th, as I'm recording this, Proton VPN has experienced a 1,400% hourly increase over their baseline VPN usage in the United Kingdom. So it just shot through the roof, right? Now, all of that is to say, there is a very clear takeaway here. Some people, meaning a lot of people, really like being anonymous, especially when doing naughty things. I mean, let's just be honest here, right? When people are doing naughty things online, whether it be adult websites or saying things on the internet that maybe are a little spicy or something, they like their anonymity. That really drives a great deal of this. Let's be honest. But in short, regardless of the reasoning people want to be anonymous, there are real concerns with online ID verification systems, right? And online ID verification as a concept. And many people don't like it, which brings us to the dead internet theory and how ID verification may be the only solution. I want you to stick with me here on this one. Stick with me. I'm telling you, stick with me. All right, so dead internet theory. The idea is simple. Most of you know exactly what this is, but the idea is this. The internet is now predominantly bot traffic, with human beings being the minority on the internet. Now, in years past, this was a theory. I gave a great deal of credence to it because I saw it happening. A lot of people poo-pooed it, but as of last year, this theory has been confirmed. Just about every way you can confirm it with real hard numbers. For example, one study of so many, the most recent bad bot report shows that actual humans make up only 49% of global internet traffic. That's a real thing. This is for 2024, right? This was last year's numbers. According to last year, humans are in the minority on the internet. Bots outnumber us. And I think most of us who spend a great deal of time on the internet have seen the results of this. Social media platforms like X are filled with AI-driven bot farms, so much so that it is making it increasingly difficult to determine true public sentiment on any given issue, as the bots flood topics and threads in order to push specific narratives. Want to have a conversation with another human? For friggin' good luck. And Meta, did you guys know that Meta is intentionally filling Facebook timelines with bots? That is an actual business strategy. They're creating bots to pretend to be people, to fill people's timelines so people don't feel lonely. It's crazy. And make no mistake, these bots are destroying the value of the internet, making it less usable and less worthwhile by the day. The plague of the dead internet is devouring the net like a swarm of programmatically generated GPU-accelerated locusts. And these locusts are multiplying much faster than we are, much faster than humans. Now, stopping this plague, killing off all those bots, is at present a seemingly insurmountable task, right? No bot detection algorithm will ever, not ever, be good enough. Just ask developers of massively multiplayer games, right? Of like World of Warcraft or any other game. Ask them how difficult it is to stop bots in their games. And those are scenarios where the games are well-confined, well-defined, extremely heavily controlled settings. And even then, they can't control the bots. Every time they put in a countermeasure to detect bots, the bot developers have it worked around sometimes within just a matter of a couple hours. And as long as most websites require no more than a simple email address to create a new account, the bots will continue. The bots will thrive and grow and far beyond what they already are. If you spend time on YouTube or X or any of these other major platforms, you've seen the flood of bots, and you've seen these platforms attempt to stop the bots. But oh my word, they're absolutely destroying these platforms, just completely obliterating them. It's making them hard to have conversations on them. It's making it hard to use them for gathering data, for determining the sentiment of things. I want to post a poll, an online poll that just is among people that follow you on a social media platform. Well, you really have no idea how that's going to turn out, because there's going to be a flood of bots coming in to change everything. It's truly wild. And there is a solution. And the solution is an extremely bitter pill to swallow. The solution to the dead internet theory is obvious, but highly unappetizing, dare I say nauseating. In order to stop the bots and reclaim the internet for humans, we must require verification of humanity in order to use the internet. Now, when I say to use the internet, I really mean any specific site. Right? So like you could term it as the internet in general. You could say it just for YouTube, or just for X, or just for Facebook, or just for Rumble, or whatever. To use that one site and be sure that the bots are at least mostly eradicated, you must verify humanity somehow. Now, how do we do that? How do we verify humanity? And obviously, the simple CAPTCHAs of years past do not do the trick. They do not work. Oh, type these funny-looking letters on the screen, or click every box that has a motorcycle or a bus or a stoplight. Now, bots, they can figure out those CAPTCHAs without breaking a sweat. I, on the other hand, have a hard time with them, which makes me doubt my humanity. And like we've already discussed, bot detection algorithms simply do not work, at least not for more than a few hours before the bots get improved to work around the algorithm. The only real solution is identity verification. And I hear you. I hear the groans, the yelling, the stabbing of the screen that's occurring right now. I'm not saying that you have to like that. I'm just saying that's the only real solution that we know of to this problem. So exactly the type of ID and age verification that is happening right now in some US states and the UK is the type of stuff that will help solve the bot problem. Except that in order for things to truly work, websites must take it to the extreme. To ensure that a website isn't flooded with bots, like what we see on YouTube or X, etc., that one website must require ID verification for, wait for it, absolutely everyone who uses it. Not simply for a handful of states, not simply for people in one or two countries, but everyone with no exceptions. And that is a real challenge. For example, in order to make this work, you want your views to count on your videos on YouTube, want to post or comment or like things on X or YouTube or anywhere else, you'd need to get your ID verified first. That would solve the bot problem. And I know most of us hate that idea. I hate that idea. And for good reason. It feels like a horrific step down a dark road into a dystopian future that none of us want to go down. But it is the only viable solution to the dead internet, which means we are left with two choices for any given website, right? We could just be talking about just X or just YouTube right now. But for one website, there are two options. The first is that we continue to be able to use it anonymously. But that means that most of the content is now and into the future will be increasingly driven by artificial intelligence and bots, including other commenters, publishers, etc., to the point where any interaction you have is increasingly unlikely to be an actual, real human being. And any count of views or likes or followers or comments or etc. is utterly meaningless. The bots will have total control of that platform. It is nearing that point already on many websites, X and YouTube included, and this will basically clinch it. If we continue down the current path of the current growth rate of bots, of the ratio of bots to real humans, it is a virtual certainty at this point. The second option is that we implement on any given site ID verification as a hard requirement, with that results in a site with very few bots. Views, likes, etc. will all be real, or at least more real. And the people you talk to will be human. Those are kind of the two options. Now, I recognize that most of us will look at both of those options with some level of disgust. But this is the reality that we live in. Those are our options if we want the internet thing to continue. Now, my personal opinion is that sites like X and YouTube, etc., should implement mandatory ID verification. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I loathe the idea. But the alternative is that very soon those sites will be all but useless as the locusts take over. Now, I also want to make a couple of clarifications here, because I think that it's really easy to have a very emotional reaction, a very knee-jerk reaction to this topic going in both directions. And I think we just need to be realistic and reasonable here. When we talk about ID verification, that does not mean a global internet ID. It does not mean that. It also does not mean storing identification, like taking a picture of your driver's license and storing it. It does not mean that. There are many ways to verify humanity and do ID verification that have at least some level of anonymity and keep a tremendous amount of personal details away from website operators. There are ways to engineer this process to make it at least somewhat more palatable. Because we can't kid ourselves for even a moment. If we do online ID verification with any sort of big website, and that includes, let's say, taking a picture of our driver's license, and if that picture of our driver's license is stored on their corporate servers, it's going to get hacked. It's going to get leaked. It's going to get misused or abused in some way. Not if, but when. It will happen. So in order to go down that road where we do ID verification, it would have to be in a way where that data is not stored on their servers for someone to misuse, abuse, hack, breach, and leak. It would have to be. Otherwise, we might as well just burn down this whole internet right now and start over from scratch. Because right now, if we don't do something about the dead internet, the internet's not going to be worth saving. I don't know that people fully realize yet the extent to which the bots are absolutely destroying the things that make the internet great. It's great that I can speak my mind about whatever I want on the internet, but increasingly, bots control what is popular. Increasingly. On these platforms, we've seen YouTubers and X people and Twitch streamers and all sorts of things become popular by bots. We've proven it over and over again. The bots control who's popular. The bots control the narrative. If you want to comment on, let's say, someone's video or someone's post or article, and you are a real human with a real idea that you think someone should hear about, and you post a comment, that's going to get drowned out by the bots. If your comment, your real human comment, is lost in a sea of 1,000 bot comments, the odds of anyone even seeing you existing is very slim. And whatever idea you had is going to be drowned out and outnumbered by what seems like the mass populace who all disagrees with you. But in reality, it's just bot farms. This is making it so whatever free speech we have on the internet, whatever benefit being able to speak anonymously on the internet provides for us, is being completely destroyed by the dead internet, by the bot farms. So we have to do something about them. If the option comes down to we do something about them, which means we have to do some form of human verification, or we don't do human verification and the internet becomes useless, we just simply have to make that choice. It's an either or. And at this point, I'm okay with going either direction. But I think the internet has intrinsic value that's worth saving. But we have to find a way to actually do it. And we have to find a way to do it where the process of annihilating those bots does not fundamentally cause more damage than the goodness that we created, than the bad thing that we destroyed. ID and humanity verification does not have to be a privacy invasive process. The reality is almost every single one of you listening right now is currently and regularly giving far more information regularly to a wide variety of services than would be required for identity verification or age verification or humanity verification. Have you used Amazon? Have you used any streaming service? Have you paid for anything online? Well, then you've done something that would meet those requirements. So ID verification is less invasive than buying something from Amazon. It is potentially, if engineered correctly, it's less invasive than getting a Netflix subscription, if engineered correctly. And so we need to figure out exactly how to do this, and we need to do it, and we need to do it stat. And I'm not saying it needs to be done across the internet, but there is a significant number of websites where it is being done, where the bot army, the dead internet army, is destroying those sites and really wreaking havoc on society at large. And we've covered some of that in previous videos where we've talked about some dead internet related things. So I would like to see X and YouTube and a few others implement mandatory ID verification of some kind. And maybe that's as simple as you have to pay $1. Maybe it's as simple as a temporary look at a driver's license that is instantly deleted. And I know, trust me, I don't trust any company or any organization as far as I can throw them. I don't. But we only really have two options here. So we need to find a way to do the ID and humanity verification that is going to work as well as possible for as many people as possible, and limit the potential damage that can be caused by hacks and breaches and corporate and government misuse and overreach. And we need to do it quickly, or the dead internet is full on and fully dead. I mean, we already, as humans, are not the majority of the internet. It's worth thinking about. Now, I know a lot of people are going to get really, really cheesed off at this article in this show that I just did. I get it. Of course I get it. I'm right there with you. But a hard decision does need to be made here. And we need to actually have these conversations. And part of what is great about what I do is I'm not beholden to anyone. No company can tell me what to say or not to say. So we can have these difficult conversations. And I can take stances that royally piss off 90% of the internet. That's fine. But this is an important conversation to have. Now, what'll be interesting to see, truly interesting, and look out for this, is there's going to be a flood of comments from people with anonymous-looking names, with lots and lots of numbers in their names. I've already seen it from the comments on the article, who are going to be attacking me for things I did not say in this article that I just read to you. They will say that I'm out there advocating for a global internet ID and a mass surveillance of people. Notice I never said any of that. In fact, I'm fighting against that. I'm recommending against those things. I'm simply posing a hard question that is reality. The only thing I'm really coming down on in a very firm way is that the bots are bad. But you'll notice that I'm going to get attacked a lot by people that look a lot like bots. Yeah. Again, that's just how it's going to be. I come out and say bots are bad, and if people jump on me about it and yell about how bots are bad and bots are great, or, oh no, Lunduke, oh, you're like mass surveillance, Lunduke, and, well, honestly, they're a bot. I'm sorry. They're either a bot, or they like bots, or they're running a bot farm or something. I'm sorry. That's just how that is. If on the other hand, you agree with me that the dead internet is bad and bots are bad, propose a technical solution, right? A workflow solution for how bots can be eliminated reliably. I mean, at least 99%. Doesn't have to be perfect. No solution has to be 100% perfect. If a few bots get through, that's fine. What we have to make sure we get rid of is the bulk of them. That's the core, right? Propose a practical workflow solution. And if you can't do that, then make the choice. A bot-infested internet where absolutely there's no way to tell what's real and what's not. Or some form of ID or humanity verification. Maybe it's go down to a bank. Maybe it's go down to a bank, flash them your ID, and the bank issues you a cryptographic token. And you can use that cryptographic token to add your ID verification to websites. Right? So in that situation, you only had to do it one time, and you don't ever have to upload your ID anywhere. Right? There's an option. Maybe you can even do it down at a 7-Eleven. I don't know. Right? We can come up with solutions here. Notice both of those solutions are ID verification. There's lots of ways we can accomplish this. But anyone who would simply attack the idea that we need to do some sort of verification to get rid of bots, I'm thinking they're misunderstanding the idea. Watch it. Watch who attacks. Excuse me. Because I think it's going to be interesting. Thank you to the Lunduke Journal subscribers for making all of this possible. I now have a frog in my throat. I got all worked up, guys. Holy heavens. I got a frog in my throat. Go to lunduke.com. And thank you to all the subscribers for making it possible to do what I do. I really couldn't do it without you. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go drink a big tall glass of water. Seriously, I have a frog in my throat. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across the inner tubes, I do declare end broadcast.